to Mexicans.
Right, exactly.
And they always paid.
Right. Now this is a house on Drew Lane.
Yep.
Drew Lane, and this is the condition that was in when I bought it. And it was a veteran guy and his girlfriend. And they bought this house, and within months after they bought the house, they split up.
Yeah.
And I just stumbled across it by handing out flyers or something in the neighborhood. Just the condition it was in. It was a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
And so she says, here, you can buy the house, give us $1,000 cash and take over the loan.
Yeah.
Something like that.
$3,000.
$3,000, right.
Yeah.
$3,000 cash, take over the loan. It was a VA, assumable loan.
Yeah.
No qualifying, nothing, just take over the loan.
Yeah.
So I did, and they took their $3,000 and ran. She says, here's some keys. Before I even gave her the money, she says, here's the keys to the property.
Right.
We don't want the property.
And then we fixed it up and we rented it out for a while.
Right.
And then we decided to sell it.
Right. Then we decided to sell it. And we made some money on this one too.
Yeah, we did. But it was hard to sell because just then the interest rates went up really high.
Yes, they did.
But we had an assumable 7% loan.
Right.
But when Jimmy Carter became president, then all of a sudden interest rates went like sky high.
Right.
And so it took us a while to sell it.
Right.
But we did sell it.
We did sell it, and what helped was because it had that 7% assumable loan on it.
Yeah.
And somebody could just pay us so much cash down and buy us out and take over the loan.
Right.
And the house was in horrible shape. This is what I'm showing, all these just different things, mold and different things to fix up, and trash all over the property, just all different kinds of trash.
And when we held open houses, then Doug worked the clients that showed up at this house. He went and sold them other things.
Right. Went and sold them other properties.
Like in Chula Vista.
Yeah, that's right.
And he actually made a few sales.
Yeah.
Pretty good sales.
Off this property from clients that I dug up.
Yeah.
And go sell them other property. So not only did we make money on this property, we made money. Look, that's the amount of trash that was at this property. Is that a tremendous amount of trash?
Was that when we bought it or when the tenants moved out?
No, that's when we bought it.
Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's what was. That was what was in that house. Was that amount of trash right there?
A lot of trash.
A lot of trash. I think I eventually had to get a one of those big industrial dumpsters.
Yeah.
And had to throw all this trash into that dumpster because there was so much stuff, and then the stuff had overgrown the big leaves, banana leaves things, and trim them up. So I think I had to get an industrial dumpster to throw all this trash in there.
Yeah.
We had to clean all this up, but that was a good deal to pick it up for just $3,000 cash.
Yeah.
And that's the condition of the inside of it, what it was like.
I think the other properties in Spring Valley was, I think, Del Rose. Was that sound familiar?
Uh-huh.
Del Rose?
Del Rose or Del Rio?
No, Del Rio was that other
Another
one.
house, right. Del Rose sounds right, yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this one, but this was a fixer-upper, but that was the name of the game in California. You got fixer-uppers.
Yeah.
And you fixed them up, and then when they're in good condition, you'd sell them. Now, eventually I sold this to somebody that lived nearby.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I took flyers, I would take like 500 flyers and drop them off at every house, every apartment building, every apartment anywhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I would just walk and do that for days and days and days on end. And I was somebody that I believe was living in a rental house or something nearby.
Yeah, yeah.
And they go, well, yeah, we like the neighborhood. Let's come over and take a look at your house. So we would hold open houses there on the weekends, and they go, we like your house, and they eventually bought the house.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
There's a guy, maybe even on the same street, I don't remember.
Yeah, so nearby, yeah. And so that's one way to sell a property, is just hand out flyers in the neighborhood, and maybe a potential buyer is right there.
I remember that mural thing, or wallpaper on that, in the bedroom there.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah. I know the carpeting was not in that good a shape. I don't know if we cleaned it up or if we had to put in new.
I don't think we put in new back then. I think we just cleaned it up because we rented it out for a while.
We did. We rented it out, yeah.
And then those tenants were not good tenants
either.
Right.
We
had to go to court with them.
Get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't like being landlords.
No, we've given up on that. No, it's now fun to be landlords. I mean, we did make money, but I wouldn't do it again. Oh, look at the condition of that shower. It's terrible.
Yuck.
Man, we would never do that now, but we did in those days.
Yeah.
We were young enough and didn't know any better, so we just went ahead and jumped in on these fixer-uppers. We weren't afraid, just go fix them up, you know.
We had sold our house in Michigan, so we got like $30,000. So when
Right.
we got there, then we went to buy properties.
Right,
And also we worked, I think, full time, both of us.
right.
And so we did a lot of things.
We did a lot of things. And we bought these various investment properties, this
Yeah.
fixer-uppers, and look at the condition, look at the trash here, unbelievable. Like they say, flip this house. Well, we flipped these houses back in the 80s already. We're flipping houses, you know?
Yeah, I think, yeah, 80s, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. Now, this is another property that I bought.
Auburn,
Auburn.
Mrs. Nepo.
Nepo, Mrs. Nepo. Was that Mrs.? Yeah, Mrs.
Yeah.
Nepo was the old lady that lived in the house. And this was a house that the owner lived out in Grants, New Mexico.
Yeah,
And shared that garage down there. There was a common garage down there.
yeah,
And partitioned down through the middle. And this house was on the left, and the one I bought, and the other guy owned the other garage. And then this was an empty lot. Eventually, an apartment building was built there. I never did see that apartment building that was built there.
but remember we rented this out to a black guy too? So
yeah.
that must have been after Mrs. Nepo died, or didn't she die or something?
She died, yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
died.
she was so old, and then she just died. She got
Yeah.
so frail.
Yeah,
And but this was a fixer-upper house also. But we bought it for $25,000.
yeah,
5,000 down.
yeah.
And the guy carried the paper of 20,000
Yeah.
over 20 years or something,
Probably 20, yeah.
20 years, and on an 8% assumable loan. He did not want to get paid off. He just wanted the 8%.
Yeah,
He figured 8% was good.
yeah.
I said, okay, good, and we'll make it an assumable loan. And so I bought this for 25,000, and how I found this property was I sent out a whole bunch of little notes. Would you be interested in selling your property at?
Yeah,
And send it to all these out-of-town owners. And send out hundreds of these letters, hundreds of them. All handwritten letters.
yeah.
And then different people would call up and say, you sent me a letter, what's this all about? And one thing would lead to another. Pretty soon I'd wind up with the property, and this is a property that I wound up with.
Yeah.
Now I eventually sold this property for $50-some thousand.
Yeah,
Remember?
I think so. I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds
And
right.
then it had this funny wood on it.
Yeah. And everything was yellow because of the smoke. She
Yeah.
smoked like a
Chimney.
fiend.
She smoked like you wouldn't believe.
She was an alcoholic and she was a shopaholic.
A shopaholic, alcoholic. She was very frail, real thin, didn't eat right. She spent all her money on alcohol and smoking, and the inside of the house smelled like, oh, it was gross. This must have been the roof on the back or something. I don't know what that was. No, that's the garage.
Garage.
That's that garage. Really poor construction. Everything was poor construction here. Cheap old garage. But the garage was used for storage, not for a vehicle.
Right.
Just used for storage of stuff and junk and so forth. This is the back of the house underneath. Now
Ah,
this is another
30
property.
35th Street.
35th Street that we
remember.
bought.
Remember the tree we had it all trimmed up?
Yeah. Now each time that white car is here, so maybe
Well,
we own that white car.
No, that was the helper, Scott.
Oh, the house, Scott. Okay, and there's our yellow van.
Yeah.
And that driveway, we shared the driveway with somebody else, which was not a smart idea, but that's the way it turned out.
Yeah.
And then we bought that property as an investment, and that tree, those fronds were, then there was a garage in back there. And it went to the alley,
Yeah.
that garage, and we're going to walk right back there right now. And that garage, I converted that garage into another unit.
Yeah.
Now, legal or illegal, I don't know about that issue, but we converted it into another unit.
Yeah.
And it was a garage, but when I got through with it, it no longer wasn't a garage, it was a a little house back there.
Yeah, a little studio.
Little studio. Converted it into a studio. The garage actually leaned to one side and everything. I had to prop up the garage to make it level because it had rotted away so bad it was leaning. The whole garage was leaning.
Yeah.
Propped it up and put a bunch of cement in there. And made a new floor in there because the floor had all broken up and everything too.
Yeah.
It was really a tear down building, but I didn't tear it down. I propped it up, made it straight, put a floor in there, put doors. Where that door is where it leads into a bathroom and a kitchen right there. Right
Yeah,
there. Oh,
yeah.
it's showing it. Okay, yeah, good. Right there, yeah. That goes into,
I think that was the kitchen.
that was the kitchen. Just a little kitchenette is all it was.
Yeah.
And this is the studio right here, see?
Yeah.
And poured that cement in there after I propped the thing back up, and then we laid carpet on the cement. And then this is the house itself.
Yeah.
50-year-old, at least 50 years old.
Yeah.
Old house.
Was that house or was that land? That wasn't Landis, was it?
No, I don't think so.
it was that house.
It was that house on 35th Street.
Yeah.
And this was the kitchen going in there. It's just not enough light, hardly to capture it, but it's just an old, whoops. Now let's see. And there, and it had that tree, those fronds really, where that ball is, were hanging way down practically to the road.
Yeah.
And then I had somebody go up there and just clean up that ball. Cost, I don't know, $500 or something, you know,
Yeah.
to trim all those fronds off that thing